Hello Gerudo! There are 4 Moldugas in Zelda Breath of the Wild, or 5 if you count the Molduking from the DLC. Today, especially if you want the Molduga Medal of Honor, we'll learn their locations. Also, we'll learn the route that I take to farm Molduga parts, what the Molduga fins and guts are used for, and the best ways to defeat Moldugas, including the Molduking. If you don't know me, I'm Nico and I love collecting and doing everything possible in Zelda games. If you need help finding or doing anything in Zelda games, I hope you consider subscribing or at least checking out the channel. First, all Moldugas will drop 2 to 4 Molduga guts, 5 to 10 Molduga fins, and 1 or 2 treasure chests. The chest seems to contain a Royal, Gerudo, or Thunder weapon. Molduking does not drop any Molduga parts, but it drops weapons that are attached to its back and 3 treasure chests. One of the reasons you may need Molduga parts is to upgrade some gear. The Sand Boots need 5 fins for its first upgrade, 10 fins for the second upgrade, 3 guts for the third upgrade, and 5 guts for the fourth upgrade. And for the Radiant gear, each piece needs 2 Molduga guts for the third upgrade. That's a total of 15 fins and 14 guts needed for all the upgrades. You can use the parts for making some elixirs combined with a critter. Each fin will add 1 minute and 50 seconds to an elixir, and each guts add 3 minutes and 10 seconds to an elixir. There is one side quest you need Molduga guts, and that's the Medicinal Molduga side quest. The Gerudo Malena asks for guts to help her husband. After you give her 1 Molduga guts, she will give you a gold rupee. And finally, after beating the game, if you talk to Kilton, he will give you a medal for defeating each Molduga at least once. He also gives you a Medal of Honor for all Hinoxes and Taluses too. But anyways, like I said, there are only 4 Moldugas and they are in the Toma Dunes to the west. Then just southeast between these 3 rock platforms, all the way south Gerudo around the Arbiter Grounds, and east around the Southern Oasis. You don't need the Molduking for the medal, but the Molduking is in the East Barrens. You do need to defeat it as part of the DLC quest. Before I talk about how to defeat them, if you're a collector like me, here's the route that I would take to farm Moldugas and even more materials. I travel to the shrine in Toma Dunes to the west, defeat the Molduga, then I get some Volt Fruit here. You can go north for a little bit, there's some other Volt Fruit, and chances are you might come across 1 or 2 Lizalfos. Next, I would wind bomb south to the rock platforms, defeat the Molduga here, defeat all the Lizalfos for some Lizalfos parts, and the high level ones will give you some ores. There's also some bokoblins in the middle, but I usually just leave them alone. You can walk here, and it might be beneficial because Lizalfos randomly spawn in Gerudo Desert and so do sparrows. So sometimes I walk and collect Lizalfos and sparrows when I see them. With that said, after I'm done with this area, I usually target the electric Lizalfos in my Sheikah sensor. Then I make my way towards the other 2 Moldugas. I follow wherever my Sheikah sensor takes me, and I collect all the Lizalfos, sparrows, hydromelons, and Volt Fruits that are in the way. Now let's talk about the best ways to defeat some Moldugas. Moldugas have 1500 health, and they will swim around in the sand until they hear something. Then they will try to eat it. So you can walk in the sand quietly or even with some stealth gear and the Molduga won't attack you. One way to get them to jump is to shoot an arrow somewhere on the ground. Then shoot them with a bomb arrow to stun them for a few seconds. Another way is actually just to throw a remote bomb and blow it up while the bomb is in the Molduga's mouth. Or walk and press B and move over by walking. After Molduga is stunned, you can now attack it with whatever you want. But if you're still attacking the Molduga when it recovers, it will do a spin attack, knocking you away. After it recovers, I will either go back on the ground and you can repeat what you just did, or it will swim above ground and you can shoot it while it's above ground. If you bomb the Molduga will get stunned again and you can attack it even more. Urbosa's Fury also works the same way as bombs, but it does extra damage. And a small side note, most enemies in Breath of the Wild have a weak point, which is usually the eye, but for Moldugas, it's their stomach, which you can shoot while they're laying down or when they jump for a little extra damage. Now if you need help with the Molduking from the DLC's quest, it's generally the same thing, but fairly big differences. Molduga's health is 1600, but what makes him difficult is that its skin reduces all the damage by 80%. He is weak to electricity, in which those attacks get multiplied by 7.5, but after the 80% reduction. And if you want, you can take the weapons off its back when it's stunned, but you can't magnesis them. Just a small reminder that there are only 4 Moldugas in Gerudo Desert. You'd have to wait for a blood moon for fighting them again. However, electric Lizalfos can spawn randomly throughout the desert, and in this video, I show you how to farm all types of Lizalfos for gear upgrades and more. Consider checking it out, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want more Zelda content, I hope you consider subscribing or at least checking out the channel. See you next time!